remember Rebecca Wilson as a hard-hitting sports journalist who wasn't afraid to ask the tricky questions and get her hands dirty. Others may remember her as an opinionated writer with many controversial insights. I remember her as a trailblazer for women in sports journalism who was tough and brave enough to take on not just the NRL Boys Club, but also other reporters, athletes, and business people within the sports industry. Not always do people agree with what Rebecca said in her columns or articles. However, you don't need to agree with someone's opinion to respect and admire what they share and who they are. She was a good writer, a great presenter, and someone who lost her battle to breast cancer in 2016. I've chosen to do this presentation on Rebecca Wilson because, like her, I have an interest in sports. I admire her tough nature and her work ethic, and she was a trailblazer for women in sports journalism. In an interview with Greg Tingle, editor and director of Media Man in 2003, Rebecca stated that there was no option but journalism for me. The media is the center point of my existence. It is my life. Her career trajectory was one to be admired. While attending university, she was selected for a 4-year cadetship with the Courier Mail. From there, she worked with Channel 10 Brisbane, reporting on the Brisbane Commonwealth Games, the Seoul Olympics, and Rugby League. After this, she moved to ABC Television as a host on Saturday afternoon sports. Rebecca's work ethic soon placed her as the media manager for Super League for 4 years, then moving on to News Limited as general manager for the Sydney Olympics division. This then led her to project manager for the agency's Rugby World Cup coverage. Rebecca had her own opinion column for the Sunday Telegraph. She was also co-host on Vega 95.3 Breakfast Show, which included Tony Squires and Mikey Robbins, who later joined with producer Damian Davis to create a sports panel show called The Fat. Rebecca also left situations where she wasn't treated correctly, as sports journalism during the 80s and 90s was seen to be a boys' club with a tough culture, yet Rebecca defied the male-dominated industry when it was considered unthinkable and unheard of. It was this outlook and persona that helped pave the way for many other women in sports journalism. For example, Jennifer Browning, a reporter for ABC News, said, "I owe a lot of my career to Beck. Because of people like Beck Wilson, no longer are there any barriers when covering sport. There is not an us and them mentality anymore." Rebecca started as a news journalist and remained with this function throughout her career, consistently breaking news stories and lent towards public journalism a lot. Public journalism calls journalists to improve the climate of public discussion rather than simply watch it deteriorate. It recognises that the news media are not and cannot be neutral observers. For example, one of Rebecca's most controversial pieces was her story outing 198 A-League fans who were banned from entering stadiums by the Football Federation Australia, which she then received many death threats from Western Sydney Wanderer fans. Her article was to bring attention to the growing violence of soccer fans, to which her point was proven. This forced the Football Federation Australia to implement a new system. Due to Rebecca's position within journalism, her opinion was held to a high standard, and she frequently expressed it, placing her within the opinion for motives function. This is focused on the personal characteristics, background, and values of working journalists, including journalists' own definitions and self-understandings of their professional roles. With this, she was heavily involved in the reporting of the Melbourne Storm salary cap scandal in 2010. During this time, she was working for News Limited, who also owned Melbourne Storm, therefore causing what was said to be a media bloodbath. Her opinion articles became a hot topic during this time, due to who she was working for and a conflict of interest swaying her opinions to the public on the issue. Rebecca achieved many things in journalism. She was a finalist in the Walkley Awards for Excellence in Journalism in the Print Text News Report category in 2013. The same year, she was a finalist in the Kennedy Awards for Excellence in the Outstanding Investigative Reporting. In 2016, she was awarded Australian Sports Commission Award for Lifetime Achievement and also a Walkley Award for Journalistic Leadership. Rebecca also campaigned for the Newlon Foundation for over 10 years, to which they created a fellowship in her name. Rebecca wasn't a come up against many people due to her fearless journalism, some including cricketer Shane Warne, NRL players such as Kieran Foran and Andrew Fifita, and a lot of the Australian public. We can all learn a lot from Rebecca. Her determination was second to none. She said what she believed, not worrying about what it may cause. She was so to the point, and her agenda was the truth. With all this, she was able to make the pathway into sports journalism for women a lot easier and fairer, and for that, she should be respected and remembered.